talking about how Snoop told you and told you he's a part of the missing the Snoop on the radio. Snoop is,
Suge Knight has made a shocking claim from behind bars, alleging that Snoop Dogg orchestrated Tupac's untimely demise and pointing a finger at Ray J for being connected to Whitney Houston's tragic death. But are these accusations based on hidden truths, or is Suge simply stirring up more controversy? Then we have Ray J, a man who's faced allegations of introducing Whitney Houston to a destructive lifestyle and even being present on the fateful night she passed away. Could he truly have been an innocent witness, or is there more to his involvement than meets the eye? The series of events feels too intertwined to brush aside. We're about to delve into all the puzzling details. Suge Knight's recent bombshell has put Snoop Dogg and Ray J in the spotlight once again. It all unfolded during a startling prison phone call where Suge explicitly claimed that Ray J played a part in Whitney Houston's death. Suge Knight claims that Ray J not only used drugs with Whitney, but also supplied them, leaving her feeling scared and unsettled in her final days. According to Suge, Whitney couldn't even bring herself to say Ray J's name, only referring to him as Brandy's little brother. But the revelations don't stop there. Suge dropped another explosive allegation, this time accusing Snoop Dogg of playing a direct part in Tupac's death. In fact, Suge insists that Ray J once confirmed to him that Snoop had put a bounty on Tupac's life. Yes, Ray J, the same figure who's been rubbing elbows with Hollywood's elite, including Diddy and Clive Davis, allegedly let this shocking secret slip at some point. But how much of this story holds up under scrutiny? And why has Suge decided to air these claims now after all this time? To make sense of it, we need to take a step back and review the long-standing tension. For years, it's been known that Tupac and Snoop weren't exactly on friendly terms. But according to Suge, their relationship soured even further after Tupac heard Snoop on the radio, suggesting he'd be willing to collaborate with Biggie and Puffy. Right after the 1996 MTV Video Music Awards, just days before Tupac's tragic shooting in Las Vegas, tensions hit a boiling point. The next morning, Tupac confronted Snoop, forcing Suge Knight to intervene and try to calm things down. But it was clear that their relationship had been deeply fractured. Snoop, feeling threatened, reportedly took extreme precautions. He even brought weapons onto the plane ride home. But it doesn't stop there. Suge claims that Snoop later played a direct role in putting a bounty on Tupac's head. And this isn't the first time Suge has made such a bold accusation. Years ago, he publicly demanded a face-to-face conversation with Snoop, insisting that Snoop owed him some serious answers for the alleged actions that may have contributed to Tupac's death. Suge also brought up the close ties between Tupac and Snoop, emphasizing Tupac's key role in elevating Snoop's career with the landmark album All Eyes on Me. Despite their history, Suge alleged that Snoop had prior knowledge of the events in Las Vegas. According to Suge, Snoop even warned Daz Dillinger not to travel to Vegas with the Death Row crew on the night Tupac was killed. Adding fuel to the fire, Suge claimed that Snoop and Daz recorded a track with one of the individuals who was reportedly involved in planning the ambush. This person, allegedly in the car during the fateful night, worked with Snoop and Daz on a song, further tying Snoop to the unfolding chain of events. Suge Knight unleashed a barrage of accusations in a tell-all interview, calling out what he saw as disloyalty to Tupac and naming those he claimed were involved. He alleged that DeAndre Big Dre Smith was one of the 4 men in the car that carried out the infamous 1996 drive-by shooting that ended Tupac's life. Suge didn't stop there. He named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, Anderson's uncle Dwayne Keith D. Davis, and Terrence Bubble Up Brown as the other individuals in the vehicle. Keith D., now the only surviving member of that group, has recently been charged in connection with Tupac's death. Suge put it plainly. The person who set it all up was Dre. Whatever his name is, he's not around anymore, but that's the truth. Suge went on. If Keith D. is telling the truth, all the other details finally start to make sense. Suge then turned his focus to Snoop Dogg's movements on the night of the shooting. He claimed that Warren G., who had invited Snoop over to his LA home that evening, had said that Snoop was equipped with a long-range communication device, like an early version of a cell phone. According to Suge, this device allowed Snoop to receive live updates on Tupac's shooting and subsequent death in Las Vegas. Adding context, Warren G., a close associate of Snoop's, recalled that Snoop had originally planned to accompany Tupac and Death Row's Suge Knight to Las Vegas. However, at the last minute, Snoop decided to stay in LA and watch the Tyson fight at Warren G.'s place. This sudden change in plans, coupled with Suge's assertions, weaves an intricate and unsettling story of allegations, unanswered questions, and chilling coincidences surrounding one of hip-hop's most infamous tragedies. Warren G. vividly recalled how that night started off as a normal hangout, just a chance to kick back, barbecue, and watch the Tyson vs. Selden fight. At first, Snoop wasn't planning to join in. Warren had invited him over casually, saying, "Hey, I'm a bachelor. Come through. We're gonna barbecue and watch the fight." Snoop declined at first, but then, unexpectedly, a horn sounded outside Warren's house. When he looked out, there was Snoop in a white Rolls-Royce with a peanut butter interior, pulling up like he'd changed his mind. What followed was a relaxed evening of food, drinks, and good vibes. "He pulled up. He surprised me. He came and hung with me," Warren G. recounted. "We just had a good time, barbecuing and having fun." Snoop even handed over the keys, letting Warren take the Rolls-Royce for a spin. The car, luxurious and head-turning, added to the night's laid-back yet exciting atmosphere. "He let me drive that thing," Warren said with a chuckle. "We were just having a great time." The fight was set to start, and the two friends were fully into the moment. Snoop had opted to chill in Los Angeles rather than head to Vegas, a decision that would soon become more significant. As the event unfolded, however, something unexpected happened. Snoop had brought along a Nextel device, an advanced communication gadget for its time that could receive messages and updates from across the country. While the fight was still in progress, that device buzzed with news from Las Vegas. Warren G. remembered the exact moment when Snoop received the updates. It was supposed to be a night of carefree relaxation, but instead, it turned somber. The news came through in real time, informing Snoop that Tupac Shakur had been shot in Vegas. It was like a strange, unsettling twist to what had been a good evening, Warren G. later reflected. That long-distance communication, delivering tragic news almost instantly, turned a night of fun and laughter into one of disbelief and shock. This unexpected shift, one moment cruising in a luxury car, barbecuing and laughing with a close friend, the next moment reeling from devastating news, stuck in Warren G.'s memory. The scene, the Nextel device, and the raw emotion of the night remain one of the most vivid, bittersweet memories for those who lived through that tragic chapter in hip-hop history. The possession of such an advanced communication device opens up significant questions about Snoop's involvement and understanding of what was happening the night Tupac was shot. Suge Knight outright dismissed the idea that anyone other than Death Row's security team would have had access to the kind of radios Warren G. described. In doing so, Suge heavily implied that Snoop might have been using the radio to receive updates from someone closer to the action. Adding to the tension, Knight also pointed out that despite Snoop publicly claiming on multiple occasions that he visited Tupac in the hospital after the shooting, he never actually did. This contradiction only deepens the mystery surrounding Snoop's role and whereabouts that night. Shifting focus to Ray J, Suge's claims took an even more startling turn. Suge insisted that Ray J wasn't merely a casual acquaintance of Whitney Houston, he was directly tied to her tragic downfall. For years, there's been speculation about Ray J's relationship with Clive Davis, the influential music executive who happened to be at the Beverly Hilton on the day Whitney passed. Some theories suggest that Ray J was put in her orbit intentionally, perhaps even to keep her on a controlled path, or worse. Making matters even more suspicious, reports emerged that Ray J acted oddly in the aftermath of Whitney's death. According to Jaguar Wright, Ray J was not only the last person to see Whitney alive, but was also the one who allegedly allowed a substance supplier into her hotel room. This allegation casts a chilling light on his involvement in the tragic sequence of events leading to her untimely death. Although Jaguar Wright didn't explicitly name who might have physically harmed Whitney, suspicion has long swirled around Ray J. In the wake of reports that Whitney's substance use contributed to her death, Bobby Brown's sister Leola, went public with her own accusations. She alleged that Ray J had connections to a substance dealer and claimed to have seen him leaving Whitney's hotel room shortly before she was found unresponsive. Leola's assertions painted a damning picture, suggesting Ray J acted as a middleman who sourced and delivered the substances that ultimately took a toll on Whitney's life. What makes these claims even more troubling are comments from a resurfaced interview with Ray J. In the footage, he can be heard boasting that he could get Whitney sober if he wanted to, implying that he had some level of control over her actions at the time. This interview, conducted while Whitney was still alive, raised eyebrows and added fuel to the notion that Ray J was not just a bystander, but someone who actively influenced her choices and her circumstances. And if that wasn't shocking enough, the same interview featured a moment where Ray J admitted he was using Whitney for clout. His words appeared to confirm what many had feared, that he was more concerned with leveraging her fame to boost his own image than genuinely caring for her well-being. All these factors combined paint a distressing picture of someone who, at the very least, didn't prioritize Whitney's health and happiness. Instead, it seems Ray J exploited her vulnerabilities, contributing to the series of events that ultimately led to her tragic end. Following Whitney Houston's tragic death, Ray J's behavior at her funeral raised more questions than it answered. Witnesses saw him clutching her casket, shedding what some believe to be performative tears, seemingly aiming to gain sympathy and elevate his profile in the industry. In the years after her passing, Ray J made public statements that further complicated his relationship with Whitney's legacy. During a 2017 appearance on Celebrity Big Brother, Ray J spoke candidly to fellow contestant Stacey Francis about the events leading up to Whitney's death. He admitted that he had avoided the topic for years, but when the conversation arose, he felt it was the right time to share his feelings. "I told them how I felt," Ray J said. "How I blame myself for a lot of things." He also revealed that several media outlets had offered him millions of dollars for interviews to disclose intimate details about Whitney's final days. Yet, he claimed to have declined every offer. "I don't need the money," he explained. "It's not good money. My karma would be bad." Ray J and Whitney Houston's relationship has been a subject of public fascination and intense speculation for years. By the time they became close, Whitney was already a legendary icon in the music world. Ray J, on the other hand, was still building his career. Known for his acting roles on shows like The Sinbad Show and Moesha, and for releasing his debut album, Everything You Want, in 1997, Ray was a rising star when he met Whitney in the early 2000s. Their connection, though often unclear, left an indelible mark on Ray J's public image and continues to stir controversy and debate. At the time Ray J met Whitney Houston, he was still a teenager, drawn to her remarkable talent and captivating presence. It's unclear exactly how their paths first crossed, but it didn't take long for them to grow close. The two were frequently spotted together at events and parties, solidifying their bond. In 2005, Ray J even made appearances on Houston's reality series Being Bobby Brown, a show that documented Houston's turbulent relationship with then-husband Bobby Brown. The series offered viewers a behind-the-scenes look at the couple's ups and downs, but it also captured Houston's fondness for Ray J. Over the years, rumors began to circulate suggesting their relationship may have been more than just friendly. Some sources claimed that the pair were romantically involved, while others maintained that they were simply close companions. Neither Ray J nor Whitney ever confirmed or denied these whispers, leaving the nature of their connection open to interpretation. When Whitney tragically passed away in 2012, Ray J was reportedly heartbroken. In interviews following her death, he reflected on their bond, describing Houston as both a mentor and a friend. Despite the rumors and speculation, Ray J maintained that his relationship with Whitney was special and transformative, often emphasizing how much she meant to him. Meanwhile, Whitney's longtime mentor, Clive Davis, also played a pivotal role in her life and career. Davis, a legendary music executive, was instrumental in orchestrating Houston's major comeback in 2009. After years of personal struggles, including substance issues and a highly publicized divorce, Houston returned with her album, I Look to You. The record sold 304,000 copies in its first week, a remarkable feat that put Whitney back at the top of the charts and marked the strongest debut week of her career. While Davis helped guide Houston's resurgence, some have questioned his intentions, noting that his involvement has often been surrounded by speculation and mixed perceptions. Houston continues to symbolize the pinnacle of songwriting and vocal talent, a truth Clive Davis emphasized in 2009. "There's a song on this album called I Didn't Know My Own Strength, and it really speaks for Whitney," he said. "She tumbled, but she didn't crumble." Davis's optimism shone through, even as Whitney's voice bore the toll of years of substance abuse. Much to Davis's disappointment, she never released new music after that, and her once incomparable voice had undeniably suffered. Yet, his public confidence never wavered. Of course, questions lingered about the nature of Davis' seemingly boundless optimism. Was it driven by heartfelt concern for Whitney's well-being, or the ongoing financial windfall her legacy provided? Critics have suggested that Davis may have been more focused on maintaining a steady revenue stream than addressing the struggles his protégé faced. Whitney's death on February 11, 2012, just one day before the Grammy Awards, shocked the world. She was found in the Beverly Hilton Hotel, hours before she was expected to attend Davis's annual pre-Grammy gala. Fans mourned globally, but the party continued. As the event began that night, with Whitney's body still in the building, Davis opened with a tribute. "I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me for so many years." Despite the somber moment, the show went on, leaving many to question whether the star's well-being had truly been the priority all along. Whitney was so full of life. She was so looking forward to tonight, even though she wasn't scheduled to perform, said Clive Davis in his somber tribute. "She was a beautiful person and a talent beyond compare. She graced the stage with her regal presence and gave so many memorable performances here over the years. Simply put, Whitney would have wanted the music to go on, and her family asked that we carry on." Whitney Houston's sudden death on the eve of the 2012 Grammys came as a stunning blow to the world. Though unexpected, it wasn't entirely unforeseeable given her long-documented struggles. She had planned to attend Clive Davis's renowned pre-Grammys gala at the Beverly Hilton that night. Instead, she was found lifeless in her hotel suite's bathtub, having accidentally drowned. Her passing sent shockwaves through the industry and left an irreplaceable void. But tragically, the heartbreak for her family didn't end there. Just 3 years later, Whitney's only child, Bobby Christina Brown, was found unconscious in a bathtub under eerily similar circumstances. Despite 6 months in a coma, Bobby Christina ultimately passed away, further deepening the sorrow and fueling even more speculation about the family's string of misfortunes. Bobby Christina's aunt, Leola Brown, became a prominent voice of suspicion. She publicly alleged that both Whitney and Bobby Christina were victims of foul play, orchestrated by individuals who stood to gain financially from their untimely deaths. Leola claimed that Bobby Christina was targeted specifically because she had inherited her mother's estate and was reportedly planning to reveal unsettling truths about Whitney's demise. These assertions, though unproven, have kept the mystery surrounding the Houston family's tragedies alive and the conspiracy theories swirling. Bobby Christina Brown, born in 1993, was the child of two legendary figures in music, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. Their whirlwind romance began in 1989, leading to their marriage 3 years later. While many assumed Bobby was the one who pulled Whitney into darker times, the singer herself admitted that she shared responsibility for her struggles with substance abuse. Whitney Houston's life, though filled with tremendous success, was also marked by personal battles that began to take their toll. Her substance issues, which she openly discussed later in life, caused missed opportunities and tarnished moments. Vanity Fair once noted her tendency to show up late for commitments and lose out on gigs due to her ongoing struggles. By 2009, Whitney was candid about her addiction, telling Oprah Winfrey about her rocky road to recovery. She had entered rehab twice, once in 2004 and again in 2005, and tried once more in 2011. Reflecting on her struggles, Whitney shared just how deep she and Bobby had fallen into the lifestyle. "We weren't buying small amounts," she revealed. "We were paying money. We were buying kilos, ounces, just having our stash. It was a stark, heartbreaking admission from an artist whose voice had the power to move mountains, but whose personal challenges ultimately led to her untimely demise. On February 11, 2012, Whitney Houston's sudden death sent shockwaves around the globe. As the news spread, fans and industry peers mourned the loss of a true icon. Whitney's musical legacy remains unparalleled, but to understand her tragic end, one must take a closer look at the events leading up to that fateful day, a day that forever changed the music world and left an indelible mark on those who loved and admired her. Whitney Houston's cause of death was officially classified as an accidental drowning, with additional contributing factors including heart disease and sea use. The detailed 42-page coroner's report painted a clearer picture of what led to her untimely passing. According to the report, a mix of substances was found in her system, including C, marijuana, Xanax, Benadryl, and Flexeril. However, it was specifically the C and its metabolites that played a significant role. The other substances were determined not to have been lethal. Los Angeles County Chief Coroner Craig Harvey explained that evidence from the autopsy suggested Whitney had been alive when she was submerged, as water was discovered in her lungs. This detail indicated that drowning, rather than a sudden collapse or fatal overdose on dry land, was the direct cause of death. Still, her chronic substance use and underlying heart issues greatly complicated the situation, leaving her vulnerable to such a tragic outcome. Coroner Assistant Chief Ed Winter described two plausible scenarios. One possibility was that Houston lost consciousness due to her state of intoxication, causing her to slip underwater. The other theory suggested she may have suffered a heart attack or cardiac event brought on by a combination of pre-existing heart conditions and her substance use. Either way, the combination of her fragile health and continued use ultimately led to the heartbreaking circumstances of her death. The heartbreaking discovery of Whitney Houston's body took place in Suite 434 of the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. The events leading up to that moment unfolded in a shockingly brief span of time. Just 40 minutes before her death, Houston had a routine, seemingly pleasant conversation with her mother, Cissy Houston. There was no indication of trouble. But less than an hour later, hotel security was called by Houston's assistant, who found her unresponsive in the bathtub. Police were already on the premises, stationed at the hotel for Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party, and quickly arrived at the scene. Despite the best efforts to revive her, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. It was a stunning, tragic end to one of music's most celebrated lives. News of her sudden passing spread rapidly, sparking an outpouring of grief from fans, industry peers, and celebrities around the world. Headlines everywhere mourned the loss, and her death became a stark reminder of the dangers of substance abuse. Even now, more than a decade later, Whitney Houston's voice, legacy, and cultural impact remain unmatched. She is remembered not just as one of the greatest singers of all time, but as an artist whose talent transcended boundaries, leaving an indelible mark on music history. In the wake of Suge Knight's recent allegations, the industry is once again rattled. If there's any truth to what he's claiming, it could shed light on two of the most significant scandals in the music world. As the story continues to unfold, one thing remains certain: Whitney Houston's legacy will always shine brighter than the controversies that surround it.